So, hello all. We're going to be talking about what is a lobby day. Part of how politics gets done at the state and local level is that your local legislators propose bills, they go to different committees, and then they get voted on. And one of the things that helps influence that process is bringing in constituents and people to tell their local representatives what they think on certain bills. And so here in Colorado, one of the ways that happens is through political lobby days, where an organization, typically around a certain topic like the environment, and with 350 Colorado, will pick a day and tell its members and its volunteers to show up to have a day where they get to have a more involved part in the process with experts and skilled volunteers who have been around before. And so it ends up being this really good way that if you're new to the whole process, you can get involved. And so last year I went to a number of these different lobby days. I talked to my local representatives, and so before we get too much into the legislative session this year, I want to share more about these lobby days so that you can consider signing up for one. A number of different organizations covering a number of different issues host lobby days, and so this is more of a general analysis of what goes into one of these days, and then I will let you then decide if it's something that you're interested and able to do and which organizations you sign up to volunteer with, so that you have a better understanding of how a lobbyist day happens. Now, typically you end up meeting earlier in the day around 8 or 9 a.m. You get breakfast. It starts off with a presentation on some of the important bills that you're going to be speaking on that day. Now, if that seems intimidating, don't let it be, because on these lobby days you are put into groups with others. And so here's one of those pictures of a group meeting, having that presentation of the bills. And as you show up, you let the group know where in the state you come from and your experience level. And so you are paired with people who have experience, as well as people who live in your area, so that you can work together to talk to the politicians that represent you. At least here in Colorado, our political process has many different points where the everyday person can get involved, and typically the state legislators will take time out of their days to speak to you, listen to you. You typically get pieces of literature that you can hand them, and that also help cover the bills and talking points and research that goes into this. And so here's just another. You typically start with a presentation with multiple speakers, get energized, have some coffee, and you are then put into these groups. So here's a picture of us getting together as groups to head on down to the Capitol building. Typically, before you head in, you take a moment outside the Capitol building steps for a photo, a lobby day photo. Sometimes, like this one, you will have guest speakers come out to the group. And so this lobby day by One Colorado, Governor Jared Polis came out and spoke to us, joined in for some photos before the group went back into the larger team, and lobby day attendees and volunteers go into the smaller groups and get ready to go inside the Capitol building. Your team leader will have a list of the politicians that represent you and the people in your group. And so the next step is to try to get time with those politicians by pulling them off the House committee floor. And so this is a lobby. This is the lobby of the lobby day, in which there will be a sergeant of arms, a person who you and your leader can give a note to, who will have the name of the legislator and who your group is. And then that legislator will have the opportunity to come on out. Typically they have a sense of the calendar for the day. And so they can come out and take a few minutes to speak to you on these issues. I remember my first time, this was a little bit more nerve-wracking. I was able to speak on some of the issues, but not others really well. And so having that leader with me, as you can see here, there's 3 different people here to talk to this representative and help have that conversation. But sometimes they're not in that House chamber. Sometimes they don't come out. And so what you'll do then is they have an office and they have a legislative aide who, I don't think I have pictures of that, but it's sometimes a separate building, it's sometimes in the main building, but you will walk and try to get time with the legislative aide or them in their office for to have that conversation with the elected official. Just scanning through some of these other ones, I was also at Sierra Club's lobby day, and you can see some of the different small groups here learning about bills. You can see that sometimes even in March, it will be a snowy day, but that doesn't stop activism from happening. I thought this is in the video. It is March, and still it snows. And then, yeah, sometimes you meet up at different spots, but it's typically near the Colorado State Capitol. You get your info, you get a chance to discuss together at the front side, and then after everyone goes through the process, you can often get a lunch provided, and you do a discussion and debrief. I don't think the lunch part always happens, but I think at least half of the ones I went to, I didn't stick around for the full lobby days, some of them last year, but I know at least half of them had lunches. And so, it is a really cool way that us here in Colorado can push to see policy changes happen. And it is really telling when elected officials do not meet, because so many of the politicians are willing to meet with people and constituents that if someone avoids the group, it really is telling where they stand on an issue if they're not even willing to have the conversation. Which I have had before. Even though they are there, I've been pushed to have a meeting with legislative aides, and I've gotten the runaround before. But most of the time can have that meeting, and politicians are super excited to see people from their district want to get involved and have information to share. And so throughout the process, there are other pushes like social media and ways to have that impact together. Am I missing any part? Yeah, there's typically afterwards, your group comes back together with the larger group. There's a debrief, and by 2 or 3 p.m., you're heading off your own way. There are lobby days for many different organizations and policy areas. And so if you like the environment, if you like and want to see stronger protections for LGBTQ plus groups, those are the areas I've gotten most involved with, but there are policy days and lobby days for young people and many more issues that are organized and put together. Cool. And here is a picture from one of the days I went. Typically it's a good day for community. It's a good day to get involved and feel like you had your voice heard and you're participating in the civic process. And overall, it's a great step to getting involved in the first place because there's so many experts and people who have done this multiple times who are willing and energized even to help new people. So consider a lobby day. There are many coming up, and let me know if this video helps you consider getting more involved with this process.